Hello and welcome to another knitting pod. My name is Lena and I am so happy you are here. Whether you are returning or you're new, I hope you enjoy this bit of time to chat about knitting because knitting is my love language, y'all. I love it so much and it is such a joy to share my knitting and hear about yours. So if you are up for that, please stick around. Today is going to be a little shorter than usual because I have so many things to get done today, and in 45 minutes my husband's going to come back home and start loudly talking on speakerphone. So we got to get to it, y'all. Let's do this. I have so much to share per usual. I am wearing the Heirloom Quilt Cardigan. My goal today is to sew a button so that I can sew these two panels shut. If you watched my cardigan video a couple of weeks ago, you know I love this piece and it was a true marathon of a process, but the fact that it doesn't stay well on my shoulders drives me crazy and I end up not wearing it. So I really want to just permanently sew the panels together, and then I'll just slip it over my head, and I think I'll get a lot more wear out of it. We are going back home for Thanksgiving next week, so I want to be able to wear this, so that is why I literally took it out, and there's a button right there, and I'm going to attempt to sew it shut and hope it looks good. I might pop over to my local yarn shop and get a bigger button. I'm visualizing like something big and wooden to match the rustic vibe of this cardigan. I knit mine in felted tweed, Rowan Felted Tweed, and I just love how, I don't know, it just, rustic is really the best word for it, but I think a big wooden button would be really cute. So stay tuned. I will keep you updated on that, but that is what I'm wearing in case you were wondering. I have been working and thinking about knitting a lot this week on various things. It's kind of nuts, but let me quickly show you my ranunculus. I love this sweater, and I am like, oh, yowza, should have steamed that out before showing it, but oh well. I am so close to the finish line, and yet the finish line being I wanted to take this home when we went to visit so I could wear it. But I don't think that's going to happen, and there are a few reasons for that. Number one, I think whenever I have a hard external deadline and I don't just finish things of my own joy, it just changes the mood of my knitting. And having this deadline has just kind of taken away the natural way I knit, in that, like, if I get frustrated, I put something down and I go work on something else. And then when I come back to it, it feels like I have the proper mindset to revisit that and deal with whatever issues I have. But when I'm trying to quickly finish something, I just start to feel I'm not able to recover from my frustrating moments, and I just end up even more frustrated. And that's where I am. There's a couple of things that are frustrating to me. This is so stupid. It's so stupid. I cannot get the sleeves to be the same length. And every time I count the stitches of the sleeve, I'm landing somewhere else. And I thought I was at 100, and then I had to rip back on this one to be at 100, and it's still too long. So I know I'm not counting accurately, and it's just driving me bonker balls, and I'm done. I'm going to just put it aside. It doesn't need to be worn next week. I have so many hand knits that I can take to wear and enjoy, because like Dallas in November is like not very cold. So I can take lighter knits and just enjoy wearing those. Whereas in Boulder, Colorado, where I live, it's very cold. So I'd wear heavier knits. So there's just no reason for me to be forcing this when it doesn't want to be forced, because I haven't even landed on the length of the body yet. And I haven't committed to that. Like, I don't have time, and I don't have the mental bandwidth to force it right now. So that is where I am with this. Also, I'm a little worried, y'all, and I'm clinging to hope that the reason the body doesn't feel like it fits the way I want is because of this barber cord, and because it is a fairly large circumference, I have tied the barber cord off, so the actual circumference, it's not able to completely stretch to its actual capacity. Because when I put it on, it's just not fitting the way I hoped it would. So my original ranunculus was made in Purl SoHo linen quill, and I'm making the same size. The yarn is the same weight, but it just has like an ease. The positive ease is just perfect on that one. And I'm worried that this one's not turned out the exact same way, which is just beyond a bummer to me, because I love the way that original ranunculus fits so much. Now, this is the other thing. That one was cropped and this one is not. And I'm wondering if that's part of why it appears to fit differently. I really don't know. All I know is this yarn is so precious to me. It's the colorway, the feel of it. It was very pricey. It's the Ritual Dyes Maven base in the colorway Jewelweed. It's a non-superwash yarn. It was very expensive. Like, this is like $120 worth of yarn at the end of the day. If this does not fit the way I want, I feel like I'm going to end up ripping it out, which just makes my heart hurt. And I cannot deal with that right now. I just cannot deal with the disappointment of that. I'm really, really hoping once this is off the barber cord, the body feels like it fits the way I want it to. Otherwise, now that I'm saying that, I could also, instead of ripping the whole thing out, just rip it back to be cropped the way the first ranunculus was. So then it would fit more like this. I don't know, but I don't want to deal with this in the next 2 days before I leave. So we're putting this aside. I have talked about this ad nauseum. You're probably sick of hearing about it. So it's fine. We're just going to push this basket to the side. Don't you wish everything in life was like that? Like, I don't really want to deal with this. I'm just going to put it in a cabinet and deal with it at a later date. Okay. On the exact opposite end of the spectrum, see, it's so fussy. It drives me crazy. Even just sitting here, I'm not even moving around. I have to keep adjusting it. Anyway, that button's going to solve my problems. What is bringing me all the sparkly knitting feels is my Rain or Shine blanket by Stephen West. I showed you guys this maybe even a month and a half ago more. I have not touched this in ages. And after I hit rock bottom with the ranunculus, I just did not know what to knit. I have finished so many things and I wanted like that Goldilocks zone of knitting for me, which is not too mindless, but no pattern plus a lot of color. And I was like, well, hello, I have this blanket, but I have like literally put it in my knitting nook in my room, which is on the top shelf. So I'd completely forgotten about it. And I did that because my darling lab, who is just so cute, and she's laying right there about to start snoring, right on time. She made a big snarfle sound. When she's left home alone and she feels like she's been home alone for too long, she will find a ball of yarn and kind of fuss with it. She won't do anything too bad, but this basket had been sitting out. Like, look how much yarn that is. And I was so scared she was going to find it and just make a yarn mess. So I put it way high for that reason. So I finally pulled it down and started working on it again. And oh my gosh, the amount of joy I have had in knitting this is just unspeakable. Like, there are no words that can do this justice. I'm trying to stretch it out in a way that you can see where I am fully. Like the color journey of this blanket is, I don't think it is possible humanly for me to feel more joy than I do when I look at this. It's just like a joy overload. The number of colors and the way they flow from one to the other, and the amount of earthiness in between the bright color pops, it's perfection. It is perfection. I have not been able to put this down for many, many days. Like this morning when my son, I was taking him to school, and I've told you guys this before, usually he drives and I knit, and then I drive the car back because he's learning how to drive. And this morning he's had such a long week with basketball and school. He was like, I just don't want to drive. Will you drive? And I was like, so disappointed, because that's 30 minutes that I could have worked on this in the car, but it's fine. I totally understand, but it is just, I cannot recommend this combination enough. It is the linen quill pearls with the Purl SoHo linen quill minis combined with this rain or shine blanket. It's like a match made in heaven, because you're marling, so you're holding two strands of yarn at the same time and then dropping one and picking up the second one. Like, here's a good example. So this one has these two colors, then I dropped the lighter one and picked up the darker one, then I dropped the lighter one and I picked up the dark, and you can see the progression. It is more fun than anyone has any business having, so there's that. Also, I don't know why I love garter stitch so much, but garter stitch plus linen quill is already, you can't get better, but then held double, it just becomes this squishy fabric that is pure magic. Also, I've told you guys this before, but in certain spots, I'm holding it triple with the mohair. So you can kind of see it right there. You can see there's even more blurriness and more floof. And I've got a couple of balls of mohair. So this is hedgehog fibers in the UFO colorway. This I haven't even gotten to yet, but I love it so much. This is Knitting for Olive in their soft silk mohair in the colorway lavender blue. And there's not an exact match to the color in here, but it'll just add like another dimension, and it's going to be amazing. I'm almost to the blues, so the colors I've picked up, I'm working on right now this is robin egg blue, and this is bird egg blue, something like that. I have all the, I keep all the things so that I know exactly the colors, because I have a very specific order in mind, and that is this order. And right now I'm about right here. This is bird's egg blue, and I'm just starting this row. So my concern, I wanted to show you the last ball of mohair that I purchased. This is Knitting for Olive in the mohair, and the colorway is Hokkaido. And I just think that plus this is going to be spectacular. Like the brightness and the texture, there are no words. But here's my concern, you guys. So you increase on every single row, and it's like you're just basically making a giant square. This blanket is not rectangular, it's going to be square. So you're increasing till you reach, I think it's like 360 stitches, and then you start decreasing in order to make a square, and it's like built on the diagonal. I'm a little worried that the longest point is going to be, I'm worried I'm going to start running out of yarn to do each stripe in those two colors. Does that make sense? And because of that, I'm buffering it with some yarn I had in my stash. I had bought 4 colors of this in like an undyed color. This is Ysolda in their alpaca blend yarn. It's very similar to linen quill in its look, but this has a different composition. This is, I think, 50-50 wool and alpaca, and this is 50 wool, 35 alpaca, 50 linen. So this has no linen, but they pass, right? Like they're very, very similar. So I'm hoping that in the really long center rows, because yeah, like I'm about to start getting into the really long center rows, and that's these colors, which are very similar to these, you know, like taupey natural colors. I'm really hoping I can buffer and get through those long center rows so that as I start decreasing, I will have enough yarn. Because worst case scenario, I have to buy another pack of this linen quill minis. And then instead of finishing all the linen quill minis, I will have a lot of leftovers. That is not a terrible thing. Linen quill is my favorite yarn of the fingering weight. Like I would say linen quill is 100% my favorite yarn. It just ticks every box, which I've talked about many times, so I'm not going to repeat myself here. But I would like to avoid that if I can. And I just don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to worry about it because if buying another pack is the worst thing that can happen, it's not that big of a deal. But that is where I find myself right now. So I don't know. That was a lot of thoughts on this blanket. Do I recommend this? Yes, with extreme, extreme love in my heart. I would urge anyone who is even mildly inclined towards this to do it because it is such a fantastic background knit. Like it served its exact purpose, which was for me to have something I adore to pick up in between other projects. I am not a monogamous knitter in any universe. I love having multiple projects because I'm not always in the same mood. I don't always have the same needs. Like sometimes I need to be able to knit mindlessly. Sometimes I really need to be distracted. So I want to be looking at a chart and not able to think about anything else. So no one project fulfills all my knitting needs. I ask a lot of my knitting. It's my therapy. It's there for me when I'm bummed. It's there for me when I'm happy. It's there for me when I'm bored. If you're going to ask so much of one thing, it's going to have to be spread out across many projects. So what I'm really, really sad about is that I'm enjoying this so much and I'm not going to be able to take this as a travel project, which gets us into the second half of this podcast, which is talking about travel knitting. But the fact that this would be absolutely ridiculous to take with me is really bumming me out because there's no way I can take this situation on a plane. It's like ridiculous. Like yarn is literally falling out of this, but I can't even take like 6 colors thinking that will last because these stripes go by so fast, Anyway, y'all, I cannot take this, okay? But I don't want to stop working on this. I want to be knitting on this. So what to travel with, okay? Here's the deal. I just put so much stress on or so much pressure on my travel knitting choices. We're going from Monday to Saturday, which is a lot of time. I find knitting very soothing and traveling a bit stressful. So I need the knitting to be doing its job. Do you know what I'm saying? So I have spent an inordinate amount of time this week contemplating what I'm going to knit on this very short trip. It's absurd. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I don't know. It's just, you can't fight nature and you have to accept yourself, warts and all. So I'm going to share with you a few of the projects that I have been toying with. I'm going to leave out some of them because, like I've said, this is a multi-day journey I've been on. So I will, in the interest of time management, I will just give you the 3 top projects that I was contemplating knitting. Number 1, and now I can't really remember the name, but I believe they were the dumpling socks. This was a project that landed in my inbox via Jessie Maed Designs. I love her designs, and this one was no different. And just like thinking about the mental image in my head, I will put a picture up, is making me reconsider this as the winner, because this pattern is just so adorable. I cannot stand it. I love socks with a lot of personality, and these just knock it out of the park. I mean, I don't even have to use words because I think the picture speaks louder than my words can. It's just so whimsical and delightful and looks so fun to knit. Which would be just the perfect thing to knit, because I think I could finish those socks. However, like finish them in those days. I also think I would have to pay a lot of attention. Number one, when I knit socks, I have to use like microscopic needles. So it's just being mindful of lace and baubles on a 000 needle is, I don't know if that's setting me up for success. Like, my parents are talking to me and we're sitting on the couch, supposed to be visiting and catching up. Like, hold please, I need to make this bauble is probably more irritating than it is going to be productive. So that is what's making that one kind of go to the bottom of my list, despite the fact that I have the perfect yarn that I don't have to show you right now because I forgot it in my room. My cousin went to Alaska this summer and she was so sweet. She sent me a skein of yarn as a souvenir, and it was dyed with, this mud that's in this specific town in Alaska. And it's so beautiful. It's like this mauvey pink, like very natural and beautiful. And it's a sock yarn, and it's got beautiful variations. I will show you next time, I promise. I think it would be so perfect for these socks. In fact, now that I'm thinking of it, like holding it double with mohair would make it like next level. We'll talk about that another time. But anyway, I just don't think it's practical for travel knitting in this specific situation. The other thing that was like the exact opposite that I fear might be a little too mindless, but maybe not, is the Musselburgh hat by, I don't remember her name. I'll put a picture up in her name. I apologize for not remembering, but many of you have suggested this in previous travel travail videos that I've had, that it's the perfect travel project because it's small, you don't have to have a ton of yarn. It's really practical. I wear hats all the time in this season. They cover up bad hair. They also keep you warm. They make you look cute. It's a fun hand knit accessory that I use all the time. So it's very practical. But is it going to be kind of boring? And Jessica said she thinks I'd finish it too quickly. I don't know. I think it could go either way. It could be perfect, or it could be not good enough and I need a backup project. So maybe that. And the one that I really want to do, because I saved the most intriguing one for last, because I do feel like it might hit a sweet spot between soothing and engaging, is a pattern that was gifted to me like at this point 1.5 years or 2 years ago by Linda Bjork Eiriksdottir, her Mynstur cowl pattern. I think this cowl is magic. I love it so much. I've been wanting to knit it for so long because it's so perfect for ski trips. And I live for ski trips, and having a really good, cute cowl is just really, it's really appealing because it's a gap in my hand knit wardrobe. Also, something that appeals is that I really need to practice my color work skills. Of all the skills like brioche, lace, cabling, all that, I'd say color work is my least, I'm the weakest in color work because I have not quite figured out the way I like to hold my yarn the best. And it's been so long since I did a color work project that I've lost I think I've just lost some of the skill of holding both yarns in my left hand, and I really would like to work on that in a more like a smaller scale project rather than a bigger scale project. I was doing a colorwork sock pattern, and it just crashed and burned, and I actually ripped it out yesterday because it was just irritating me and I wanted the yarn back. Y'all are going to be bummed if you remember this sock. It was the one that was these two colors. It was so beautiful. It was a Summer Lee Designs pattern, but it just, I need to go up in another size in the needles. Just the color work floats, despite how loose I was trying to make them, just made it nearly impossible to get that sock on. So it was just, I ripped it out. I just called it, live and learn. And I wanted the yarn back. Now, this Mynstur cowl would be adorable in these two colors. However, these are both superwash, and she says in the pattern that she thinks it's ideal at least to use the main color as a non-superwash, and I love non-superwash yarn. So right before this, it occurred to me I could use this linen quill. This is linen quill in the colorway dark denim. I have 2 skeins of this, and it would be so pretty in either one of these. Ooh, that's making me sparkle. Like the color work in this and this is the main color would be super fun. Or this would be more muted, obviously. But my winter jacket that I always wear is this color. It's a very different texture, but it's dark like a navy. And so doing a cowl in this would be really cute because it doesn't have a hood. It's just super cute, so I always wear it. But it would be really fun to do the cowl in one of these. What do you guys think? Which one? Let me know in the comments which one you like better. I'm leaning towards this one because I think the color work would pop more, and the jacket, which I wish I had now, it has like yellow and orange and red stripes. It's an Aviator Nation jacket. So if you know that brand, you know their typical stripes. It's like that. So I actually think that would be really cute. As I'm talking, I feel like I hit the nail because this is non-superwash, and the texture contrast would make it really interesting because the dark linen quills, you really see the linen. And I feel like this highlighter yellow would be like, the difference makes it intriguing to me. So I don't know. I am thinking this might be it, like this pattern and this. Like, I don't know. Tell me what you think. If you think that practicing color work and having to follow a chart is too much, or just the right of enoughness, I don't know. I would love, love, love to hear your thoughts. But that's where I am. I have very little time to make up my mind. Tomorrow is going to be insanely busy because my son has his first 2 high school basketball games, and my daughter is having her birthday party, which is like a big thing at our house. And then we're just doing a lot of stuff for her birthday party. And then it's Sunday and we leave Monday. So I don't have a ton of time to figure this out, but I'm going to make a choice today, I think, depending on what y'all tell me. So yeah, that is what has been engaging my knitting life this week. It's just bonker balls that I just get so crazy about travel knitting. There's just so much pressure on it because I rely upon it for sanity while I'm traveling in, not just traveling home for Thanksgiving, but any travels. I just really, really have like a deep-seated fear of being like caught out away from home without the right knitting project. And that just triggers some real panic in me. And I'm not exaggerating. Sometimes I just try to be funny, but I'm actually not trying to be funny. This is like true. I just really live in fear of that. Like I have knitting with me at all times because it's a self-soothing mechanism, I think. Hey, it's better than like I have to have vodka in my purse all the time as a self-soothing mechanism. So if we're picking our poison, yarn and needles is probably, a benign one. So let me know what you think. I have to go now. My time is up. It's been 30 minutes. I wanted to leave 5 minutes to just do a quick wrap up, life, not even life, just I wanted to express how grateful I am to you guys. It's Thanksgiving next week, and it's sort of just cheesy American culture to give thanks at Thanksgiving, but I will take it as an opportunity to hopefully put into words how much you guys mean to me. And I'm saying this in the truest way. Y'all are just one of the best things in my life. You have enriched my knitting life so much, and my knitting life is so much of my life. But because I get to come to this space and share all my knitting thoughts throughout the week, it's just like I have like my self-talk and conversation that goes in my mind is so lovely because it's with you guys. It's not just, a litany of my own failures, because our minds left to their own devices tend towards self-destructive thoughts. But because of you guys, I'm always trying to come up with what I want to share with you at the end of every week. I always tape on Friday, and you all sustain my mental conversation for the whole week, because all I think about is like, what do I want to share? What do I want to talk about? What do I think about? Like, it makes me think deeper. It makes me, I don't know, it makes my life better for lack of ability to put it into words. But the fact that you guys keep showing up enables me to keep showing up in my life in the best way. And it's just increased the quality of my life 1,000-fold. I can't even tell you how much happier I am in my life since I started this podcast. And that's because you guys show up. And it's not just an abstract space on the internet. It's a concrete piece of my life that is just as valuable as parenting or my marriage or my dear friendships. Y'all are on par with that. And for that, I am so eternally grateful. You have no idea how much you mean to me. Like those of you that send me comments regularly, like you feel like true friends to me, and I look forward to your thoughts in the comments. And real quick before I go, I have to tell you that one of you reached out to me many months ago saying she lived in Denver and that would I be interested in getting together sometime? And I said, I would love to. And we actually got together last Friday. And Stacy, meeting you was an absolute joy, and we connected so instantly across so many levels and had such a true meeting of our hearts, truly. Like, it felt like she was such a kindred spirit. Like, we talked about so many things, and I felt instantly like this is someone I actually want to be friends with. And it was just such a lovely kind of meeting of the digital world with the real world, and I was really grateful for it. So I was so thrilled to meet somebody who has watched my channel and connect in real life and make a real friend out of it. How cool is that? That's like the universe working, right? That's like the stars aligning and the universe bringing us together. And I am here for it. If you are ever near Boulder, please reach out to me. I would love to meet you IRL, because as lovely as our internet lives are, our real lives should be better. So please reach out if you're ever in town. I would love to meet you. Okay, y'all, I've got lots of things to do, some fun, some less fun, but I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead of you. If you are here in the States, happy Thanksgiving. I hope it is filled with really lovely things, lots of knitting and time spent with people you adore, because that is what you deserve. And if the time is spent with some obligatory visiting that doesn't fill your bucket, try to balance that out with the people that really, really get you and make you feel seen, because that joy is unparalleled. And if you have one person in your life that makes you feel like that, you are rich beyond words, because that's all it's about. And I don't know. I feel like if we have it, we're lucky. So go be happy. Have a lovely week. I will not be taping next week, but I will be back the next week with plenty of rambling and lots of stories. So I will see you then. Take good care of yourselves. Bye.